They've started the recording, yes. Okay. So a very good evening to all students, all professionals here to listen to our esteemed guest for today, Dr. Narendra Jadhav. This is the first episode of Udaan for this year and the 10th episode of Udaan overall, a series that we have begun to ensure that the learners of today become leaders of tomorrow and to inspire them from personalities, from leaders of the profession or of the nation. For this today's program, we have a very esteemed guest, Dr. Jadhav, who I will shortly introduce. But before we go to him, I would request the president of the chamber, Jayant Gokhale sir, to speak a few words, and then we'll move on to Dr. Jadhav.
Thank you, Namrata. Good afternoon, Dr. Jadhav. Great pleasure to have you and great honor that you are starting off the first Udaan program during my tenure. My great honor. Uh, I have known you, read about you, in the sense interacted with you earlier officially, read about you and your achievements, and it's a great honor. So far as all the students are concerned, let me mention that Namrata said that we want to inspire you, we want to get you, and there can be no better figure. I may also just mention, because many of the students would not be aware very extensively about the activities of the chamber, which I happen to be heading this year, is that if you see our logo, you will find that there is a motto below that which says Jnanam Param Balam, which is that if you look at it in English, it is loosely translated as knowledge is power. But we actually take it slightly more in a Sanskrit sense, that it is what gives you power. It is not just power, but power lies rooted forever in Jnana. And that is what the chamber's activity is all about. And therefore, we don't look at it as member, non-member, although I would welcome every student to become a member of the chamber for the simple reason that we are intending to spread knowledge, and you are going to be the professionals of the future. And for you, a sound knowledge base is indispensable. You will, of course, have to put in your own hard work. You will have to have success in other fields. But a sound knowledge base is indispensable, and that is what we hope to instill in you. Other than that, we also try to see that we are not just only persons who are talking about what is the law, but also about the other soft skills, the ethics, and other areas, which all combine to make you successful individuals first, and thereafter successful professionals. So I welcome all of you to this first episode of Udaan for this year. I wish you a happy learning, not only in this program, but throughout the year in the various episodes that we will have, to keep inspiring you more and more, and look forward to the interaction for this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So before we understand from Dr. Jadhav his journey, and before Aditya enables that discussion with Dr. Jadhav, I have the pleasant task of introducing him. Dr. Jadhav, I'm sure, is known to a very wide circle, given that he is a multifaceted professional, a renowned economist, educationist, academic, administrator, and an author across three languages: English, Marathi, and Hindi. He has served as a member of the parliament in the Rajya Sabha, and was nominated by the President of India till April 2022. Currently, he is producing a comprehensive web series on the Indian Constitution, spanning nearly 60 hours and featuring insights from 35 MPs, 20 judges, both of the Supreme Court and the High Court, and other top legal luminaries. He also hosts an audiovisual podcast series titled Bhim Bhashya, focusing on Dr. Ambedkar on his YouTube channel, Dr. Narendra Jadhav World. With a illustrious academic background, a PhD in economics from Indiana University, USA, he has also had an equally astounding career spanning nearly 5 decades in public service. Some of the very distinguished positions which have been held by him include as a member of a planning commission, member of the National Advisory Council, Vice Chancellor of Savitribai Phule Pune University, advisor to the International Monetary Fund, and also chief economist of the Reserve Bank of India, as also for Afghanistan and Ethiopia. Dr. Jadhav is also a very prolific writer, wherein he has authored more than 44 books across the three languages English, Hindi, and Marathi. Apart from 32 official reports on various public policy issues and around 300, 200 research papers and articles. He is a recipient of 73 national and international awards. And I must mention that while trying to understand a little more about Dr. Jadhav, I went through his website. I found two versions of his introduction. One which had to be indexed. It had so many accolades, so many achievements, so it had to be indexed. And Dr. Jadhav has been kind enough to share with us a much shorter version for our talk today. So we are really glad to welcome you today, Dr. Jadhav, and have this really good opportunity for us, for our students, everybody involved.
Thank you, Namrata, for a very generous introduction.
So now, Aditya, it is over to you to get the most out of him.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, President, Vice President, and Chairman of our Students Committee. It is my great pleasure to have this conversation with Dr. Jadhav today. There is something that was mentioned, but which I need to mention again. This is not only Dr. Jadhav's this is not the first Udaan episode for this committee. It is also the 100th centenary year of the CTC. So this is the first episode of Udaan for students in this again. I think we're starting it with a bang, with such a prolific person and a personal mentor to me also. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us out here. I hope to
Before you proceed, let me thank all the organizers to give me an opportunity, to have given me an opportunity to be a part of this very special Udaan webinar, Learning Today and Leading Tomorrow. And I wish to thank Jayant Gokhale and all other office bearers of this organization. Jayant Gokhale, yourself, Aditya, Neha, Namrata, and I wish to say that it's a great opportunity and honor to be a part of this very exciting webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, sir. So I hope today to have a conversation with you, which will be as intimate as it always is, except for the fact that we have a much wider audience today. So they will get to benefit with the conversations that we usually have. I don't expect anything beyond what usually happens and all the guidance that you've given us. Sir, you are an educator, an economist, administrator, author, former member of parliament. You're heading a committee on language today, a very burning issue with respect to this state. And also not just this state, there are other states also which will possibly get influenced by this. Education has been a large part of your life. Academia has been a large part of your life. Finance, economics has been a large part of your life. How exactly do you manage to juggle such hats, so many hats? You've also done a PhD. How did all, I think, how does one become so prolific, so dynamic that so many things are done together? If you can just give us a slight insight into your story as a student, as a college goer, of what in those days made you consider doing a PhD. Can you give us an insight into that journey, sir?
Okay, all right. I was born in Mumbai, and I was the first generation learner in the family. My father was a class 4 employee in what was then called Bombay Port Trust, and now it is called Mumbai Port Authority, I think. So my father was working there, and we were staying in awful neighborhood in central Mumbai, in a part called Wadala, where the entire environment was conducive to anything excepting studies. Uh, and I grew up there, and I went to Municipal Corporation School up to 4th standard. Then 5th standard onwards, I went to Chabildas, which is again a Marathi medium school. And then I went to Ruya College and studied in Ruya College. After my graduation in Ruya College, I went to Mumbai University, then Bombay University, and I did my master's there. And while doing the master's, I appeared for the examination for State Bank of India probationary officers. That was a big thing. Everybody used to apply, and some of my teachers also applied. They all failed, and I passed. So before completing my MA, I joined the State Bank of India as a probationary officer. And then I completed MA also while working with the State Bank. And I was one of the youngest ever to join State Bank. I was hardly 21 at that time. That was the lowest age. I joined MA, I finished MA, and worked with the State Bank of India for 3 years. That went on, not very comfortable. Then I thought that I need something. My calling was different than commercial banking. Research was my forte, or that was my calling. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do PhD, but I needed to change the job. So as the luck would have it, there was an opportunity that opened up in the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India has different grades of officers, starting with A, B, C, D, E, F. F grade is the Chief General Manager level. Then comes the Executive Director, Deputy Governor, and Governor. So direct recruits, they have exams for grade A or grade B. I applied for grade B and got through. There again, I was the youngest ever to join. At the age of 24, I joined. Having joined the Reserve Bank of India, I realized that I'm not going to go very far unless I equip myself with research in economics at the cutting edge level. I spent some time in Reserve Bank of India to realize that doing master's was not enough. I have to think about something else, and I have to think big. And then I applied to foreign universities. Again, luck has always been in favor of me. And I joined, I competed and got the national scholarship. I had, of course, no money to go abroad, but I was chosen as a national scholar in economics those days in 1979. And under that national scholarship, I went abroad to do my PhD, which is what I did at Indiana University, United States. I came back 1 week after I finished my PhD. Those days, people were not going back. Going to USA, studying there, so many opportunities. And I was the topper throughout, by the way. I have a record of grade point average in that university, which is still unbeaten. It would be beaten by another Indian I know at some point of time. So I finished my PhD, and within 1 week after finishing PhD, I came back and joined the Reserve Bank of India again, and that is how my career took off, really.
It's very interesting because a lot of people, focus a lot on hard work in getting ahead. But I think the conversation with you today shows us that it's not only hard work, it's also vision that is required of being able to not only perceive opportunities, but also not being a status quoist, wanting to do something in life, as a young person, as a student. I think that is a great takeaway that I took away from this conversation that you have.
I will put it out, put it in somewhat different terms. Uh, Let me go back to my childhood again. And I mentioned that the environment was conducive to everything except studies. But then I had my father, who was a very, very important personality in my life. Can you imagine what was my first ambition there when I was a child? My first ambition was to be a gangster. And it was not surprising because at that point of time, the environment was such that gang wars was a day-to-day thing, and survival of the fittest was the rule where I was living. And I learned a lot from there. And that time, my first ambition was to be a gangster. Then I realized that after a little while, I realized that, it's no good to be a gangster. I should be doing something decent. Just, in Hindi movies, as they say, इज्जत से रहना. तो इज्जत से रहना चाहिए. So what to do then? My second ambition, everybody will finds it shocking. I myself find it shocking. I wanted to be a peon. Why? It is not a laughable matter at all. I wanted to be a peon because there was so much uncertainty in life. Future looked so bleak, so uncertain. And the conditions where I was growing were such that I thought I must get a job from where I will not be removed. So I will be fixed. And the only fixed income job is peon's job. Then it used to be. So I wanted to be peon. Then when I went to bigger school, I was still living in Manala. When I went to a bigger school, Chabildas, I had all kinds of complexes. I grew up under unbelievable complexes. And I gradually came out of those complexes, helped by some very, very good teachers. But I finally came out. So it is like this. You stand, you raise your hand, you're reaching up to a point. Then you stretch yourself and then realize, I can reach here too. Then you stretch further. Oh my God, you can reach there too. So from gangster, I wanted to be a peon. When in the school, I wanted to be a teacher. Then I wanted to be a professor. Then I wanted to, it went on. I went on exploring myself. And in the process of self-realization, I went on achieving and went on building my career. That is how it happened. It was not something that I had envisioned at the very beginning. The atmosphere was not conducive to giving a vision, but it was self-discovery and then the hard work and everything that goes with that to build your career. म्हणजे मराठीमध्ये स्वतःलाच रचित गेलो असं म्हणतात. तसं मी स्वतःचं व्यक्तिमत्व मी रचित गेलो. That would be a better expression of my reality.
Sir, that is, a very inspiring story because, a lot of people actually, we discussed this because we are a part of the Students Committee about reaching out to a lot of students who necessarily do not have access when they need it the most, do not have access to mentors when they need it the most. And it's so good to hear that you had such good teachers in college and school that helped you overcome certain difficulties and helped you reach where you are today, and that you wanted to become, amongst other things, a teacher also, which you did become, but at a level that I did not think you thought of as a college going student at least.
But I still remain a teacher at heart.
Yes.
In everything that I have done, I'm teacher at heart.
So I don't think anyone will be able to deny that. But before we get to the teaching, we need to know a little bit about your story in the RBI, because we are the Chamber of Tax Consultants, and the most amount of exposure most of us would have had to you. In fact, just a little while back, Mr. Gokhale, who is our current president, remembered that he had come to you during his RBI time with some representation. So please tell us something about the story of the RBI, at least as it was then, and what changes. I mean, 31 years in the RBI is a very long time. I'm sure you've seen a lot of transformation happen, and you never left just that, you've seen FERA, I have seen FEMA also, I guess. So FEMA is very recent. And, when you were saying I did my PhD in 1970s, I was like, in my head, I always knew it. But
No, in the mid-80s. Mid-80s.
You were still Dr. Narendra Jadhav before my birth.
Okay. All right. Coming to RBI,
Yes.
I will give you only the salient features of my career in RBI. I was in the economics stream, so to say. So there were three streams. One was economics, one was statistics, and the third one was general, where people could be transferred to any department other than the specialized departments of economics and statistics. As a part of the economics department, my job was doing research in policy making, especially monetary policy. That was the thing. And I rose very fast in the sense that I did great job. I think after coming back from US, I got opportunities and I got one mentor in a very conservative organization. I wanted to go up fast, and fortunately, I got a very, very good mentor. His name was Savak Tarapur. He retired as the deputy governor. He made it a point to give me opportunity. Let me say this. In my opinion, one major difference between the big achievers and not so big achievers is opportunity. Opportunity is very important, which you should be able to smell the opportunity. And when it comes, you have to seize that opportunity and get the best out of it. These opportunities were given to me by Mr. Tarapur, and I made the best out of it. Do you know that for 20 years in the Reserve Bank of India, apart from doing the research, I used to be the speech writer for governors. I have written speeches from Dr. Manmohan Singh to Dr. Y.V. Reddy. Everybody, I have written speeches. And writing speeches was a great learning experience for me, because I would write the speech and then discuss with the governor, and then the changes would be suggested and we would finalize that. It was not like I wrote and they read it out. Governors are usually brilliant people, and they were. I met all the governors, and I used to be their speech writer, and that gave me a very, very big insights into the subject of economics, not only economics and finance, but financial sector reform and so on. And during my career, I got so many other opportunities. For example, I was chosen to become advisor to International Monetary Fund. So I represented India at the International Monetary Fund as the chief advisor for the Indian executive director there. So that was a great opportunity. And that happened. I returned to India in 1986, and 1998, I got that opportunity. So about 12 years of work. In those 12 years, I produced enormous number of papers and started writing my books, started giving speeches. And when I was writing speeches for the governors, I started writing my own speeches and started delivering. And when the big reform started in 1991, if you remember, there was a major unprecedented macroeconomic crisis in our country in 1991, when the foreign exchange reserves of our country had come down to barely $1 billion, at which point they were sufficient to cover only 2 weeks of our import requirement. So that was an unprecedented crisis. And then came Dr. Manmohan Singh as the finance minister, and he started the process of reforms, liberalization, part privatization, and globalization. And the big change that took place, I was riding on that change and helping Dr. Manmohan Singh on one hand and the Reserve Bank of India on the other. And I realized that for reforms to be successful, there has to be consensus around the reform. And there was so much opposition to reforms. I was the only person in Maharashtra at that time who would relentlessly write articles and deliver speeches on defending the reforms and trying to reach the consensus around reforms. And we know what has happened. The whole thing changed dramatically. By the way, in those 12 years, two very interesting things happened. One was there was a lot of money was going out of India, through Hawala market. And that was a big issue. I'm talking about 1990. And we had a brilliant governor at that time called Mr. Venkataramanan. Mr. Venkataramanan was one of the most brilliant persons I have ever met, and that is how most people talk about him. He died recently. Mr. Venkataramanan was the one who saved India during that 1991 crisis. Dr. Manmohan Singh came later, but at the time, when the country was in crisis, RBI was the only institution which was in good shape. And they took very unconventional decisions, including the decision to swap 47 tons of our gold to the central bank in United Kingdom. And that was the decision, that was the turning point, and that gave us time. And then the elections were held. The new government came, Dr. Manmohan Singh came in as the finance minister, and the rest is history. So during that period, when a lot of money was going abroad through Hawala route, Mr. Venkataramanan, who had one day invited young economists to talk about economic issues, he had recently joined the Reserve Bank of India as the governor, and he was telling us that you should always keep your eyes open and, don't focus only on the books. You should know the reality around you and all that. Usual great thing that he was saying. Then suddenly he started talking about Hawala. He said, how many of you know about Hawala market? I raised my hand and I said something, whatever little was known from the newspaper and from the hearsay account. He was such a dynamic person. He said, how would you get more information about Hawala market and how it works? So I said, what is the center of Hawala market? I said, Dubai, as far as I know. He turned to Mr. Tarapur, who was that time my head of the department. He said, in 24 hours, I want this man to be in Dubai. Use something, some soft story, some story you write, but he should be in Dubai exploring this. So a story was created within RBI that I'm going to Middle East to look at the problems of NRI, banking-related problems of the NRIs. The real reason was this. And I went there, and secretly, it was not a police kind of job. It was the modus operandi of why it is happening, how it is happening, and all that. And within 2 weeks, I wrote a report, which was a very, very important report. And when I came back, by that time, after I came back, that report was presented to the government, and that is when the decision was taken to allow import of gold at that time. There was so much reaction that people don't have food to eat and we are importing gold. That idea was to reduce the premium between gold market here and the gold market in Dubai and so on. Anyway, that was such an important report that led to the part private. That was the beginning of the globalization. It was also part of relaxing the controls, and it was also that time the decision was taken to devalue Indian currency. That decision was taken at that time. So major changes. So much so that Mr. Venkat Ramanan, in one of the meeting of economists in RBI, publicly said that Narendra Jadhav is James Bond of Reserve Bank of India, because I had gone under pseudo name and pseudo purpose and all that. And so I hasten to add the James Bond minus the actions which go with James Bond. So that was very unusual opportunity. This is not something which every researcher gets to do, even in RBI. RBI is, by the way, the largest reservoir of economists in our country, not Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Commerce. RBI is the, has the largest group of economists working, professional economists. Later on, I became head of the department and really brought it up. But that was a great opportunity. Yes, there was one more opportunity that I got within 2 years after I came back from United States after finishing PhD. 1988, I was chosen to become advisor. The Ethiopian government at that time, Ethiopia had not broken into Eritrea and Ethiopia. At that time, Ethiopian government had a major crisis and they wanted a foreign exchange expert. So they they did not want to go to IMF, they did not want to go to World Bank, they wanted some friendly nation to help them. So they wrote to the government of India, and government of India referred to Reserve Bank of India, and they decided that I should go as the advisor to the governor of National Bank of Ethiopia to advise them. What was my job? My job was to decide how much is the devaluation of Ethiopian currency birr was required at that point of time, and build scenarios at various levels of devaluation. What would be the macroeconomic implications for the country? So that was another secret mission. Again, the pretension there was that I had gone there to teach banking, central banking to the people in the National Bank of Ethiopia. That was not the case. I went to National Bank of Ethiopia only once. I was given a small team to work with me. I was hiding in a five-star hotel and doing the work. And that was the time when in Ethiopia, there was the longest serving dictator. 14 years he was ruling the country. Mengistu was his name. The report that I wrote, I had private meetings, in secret places with the finance minister all the time. And then finally, I had one meeting with the president, Mengistu, and that was, Borivali, Kandahar, what they say in the Hindi movie, a dilapidated place outside the city of Addis Ababa. And there were 6 black limousines came, and one, despots are always very scared of their life. They are the most coward people. So nobody would know which limousine he is. So he came out and then we had a nice chat and I explained the whole thing to him. Now, that was a great experience. This is not run-of-the-mill experience for a researcher in Reserve Bank of India. I'm saying that I got those opportunities, and when I got those opportunities, I did the best of it.
Dr. Jadhav, sir, you have very, I should say, carefully made the job of a researcher very glamorous and exciting for everyone who listens. And then, in a typical fashion, added a caveat saying that this is not representative of how the job really is.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure a lot of our audiences are students who wish to pursue CA. We have a lot of people who want to pursue law, tax laws, commercial laws. And I think economics would figure very highly on their list after hearing this conversation. Maybe if that caveat wasn't there, I think we would have had attrition from our course.
I want to add 2 more small stories, which are again very unusual. 1998 to 2002, I was in the International Monetary Fund, representing India, as I was mentioning. And that was again a great experience. And I created, landmarks wherever I went in whatever assignment was given to me. After I came back, I was made head of the department, and all that happened. But then I had done so much for the department and come up so well. But then the trouble starts, competition for the top job and all. Mr. Tarapur used to say publicly, he had said that unless you go to governor and punch him on his nose, there is no way anybody can ever stop you from becoming the governor of Reserve Bank of India. But that did not happen for a variety of reasons, because I left much earlier. But there was one opportunity that I got, and then I took that opportunity. I was chosen in the international competition, so to say, to be the chief economic counselor in Afghanistan in the middle of war, the 22-year-old war in Ethiopia, in Afghanistan. And I took that as a challenge. I went to Dr. Manmohan Singh, took his permission. He said, "आप अकेले जाइए और ज़्यादा देर मत रुकिए वहाँ." I have consistently throughout he has been my mentor. He was my mentor. So I went to Afghanistan and spent some time in there. And I was in charge of running the country in the economic sense. For example, I was the one who I was deciding the interest rate, I was deciding the exchange rate. And one of the greatest things that I did was some of the gold which was there, it's called Bactrian gold, which was preserved for ages. That I got converted into what is called London Good Delivery Gold and raised funds for the Afghanistan government. So it was a great thing. And in the middle of war, we had heavy security and all that. And Americans were running the country. The USAID had taken over the country and they were running. And I was recruited by them. There were local people, but most of the professionals were dead or gone elsewhere. There were few. So I was a very critical professional. And that was, again, a phenomenal opportunity, that I took. There was some big risk, of course. So I was there for some time. And then something, again, suddenly different opportunities come. I was getting kind of saturated in RBI, and I received a call. Can you imagine? The then Chief Minister of Maharashtra, it was Vilas Rao Deshmukh. Vilas Rao Deshmukh conveyed to me his desire that I should come back and join as the Vice Chancellor of Pune University. Mind you, I had never ever done anything in the education field other than teaching a little bit while doing my PhD in America. So that was an opportunity. I remember one of those days, one evening, my wife calls me from Mumbai and talks about all kinds of things. And then suddenly she remembered, she said, "Do you want to be a vice chancellor?" My heart stopped because, as I said, I'm a teacher at heart. I said, "Which university?" I did not want Mumbai University. She said, "Pune University." In 40 seconds, I said, yes. And that hugely paying job, I left. I took something like 95% pay cut to come to India to join as a Vice Chancellor of Pune University. And that was a great change. And in 3 years, I believe, and you can see that there, complete change was achieved in that university. They were round the clock, and I brought the university and society together, and I was incredibly popular Vice Chancellor. Again, don't take me for my word. People still remember me and talk about it. Anyway, so having finished, while I was there, normally in bureaucracy, back-to-back deputation is not allowed. But I finished one deputation, I left it halfway and joined another deputation in Pune University. That was, RBI was kind enough to allow me. Governor at the time, Dr. Y.V. Reddy, allowed that. I was allowed to do that. While I was there, I was enjoying the job so much because I had just thrown myself into the job and I was hell bent on transforming it. That is very important. And I was so much involved. RBI started writing me letters. Please come back. You're due for promotion, this, that. And I was supposed to become deputy governor and then on to governorship, possibly. Nothing can be ever taken for granted. But they started, and I ignored those letters. Then the letters started becoming severe, saying that we will have to initiate action if you don't come back. They started in a fit of frenzy. I was enjoying my job so much as a vice chancellor. Working directly with the young minds was it gave me so much happiness that I suddenly wrote a letter to governor that I want to resign from the Reserve Bank of India. So the governor that time was not Reddy. Reddy had gone and some other governor was there. I don't know. Subbarao was the governor. So he called me to Mumbai and he said, Are bhai, if you don't want to come, that's fine. But don't resign like this. RBI actually wants to promote you and all that. But if you don't want to come, at least make this a voluntary retirement application. So my resignation was withdrawn and I replaced it by voluntary retirement application because that way he said, you will get your dues, otherwise you will not get any dues from RBI. I did not know that. So I voluntarily resigned at the age of 53 and went to Pune. And when I was a vice chancellor in Pune, from there again, I did not finish my 5-year term. After 3 years, less than 3 years, Dr. Manmohan Singh picked me up and called me to Delhi in 2008 to join as a member of Planning Commission. That was a great honor, and I took that, and I resigned from that post and RBI and went to Delhi, took over as the national member of Planning Commission. And what was the charge that was given to me? Education, labor, employment and skill development, sports, youth affairs, and social justice and empowerment. So 1/4 of Planning Commission was given to me. And it was a great opportunity. And again, I think I did a great job there. I did the best I could. And then that was the time when I was also made member of National Advisory Council, which was called Kitchen Cabinet of Sonia Gandhi. So in my life, I'm one of the rarest persons. I have worked with Dr. Manmohan Singh for about 35 years, off and on. I worked with Sonia Gandhi for 5 years. And later, I also worked with Narendra Modi and Dr. Mohan Bhagwat. So probably there are very, very few people who have worked with so many different people. All this is the opportunities that came up. I grabbed them and made best out of it. So that is the story.
So I think condensing this would be tough, but the mentorship aspect that you brought out,
Yeah.
I think that is so incredibly important, opportunities, grabbing opportunities. But you'd be very surprised. We just at the first meeting of the Students Committee, the first thing that was actually suggested by Gokhleji was that we need to reach out to more students to be able to mentor them as professionals, as tax this thing. And I think there was a big consensus on this. And your story and the way you have said it, I think that just puts that exact star, it hit the arrow on the head about just how having someone who says, I am standing here, I believe in you, you go do your thing, can make the world of a difference. That person does not need to follow you up, pick you up ever.
Absolutely.
He or she just needs to stand there.
All the adversities in social terms that I faced as a child, there was one teacher who mentored me. I'm not saying everybody was bad or not. Certainly everybody was not good. But then there are people, like there was a teacher called Madhav Sakradande, who made a big difference in my life. Later on in RBI also, Savak Tarapur made a big difference in my life. As you rightly said, he told me that he made me believe in myself. I did not need external assurance. My assurance actually comes from within. I have that arrogance that by that time I had developed that. But he was the one who gave me the opportunity and told me that you can do it. And I did it. Very small incident. Once I wrote a speech for a governor called R.N. Malhotra. R.N. Malhotra was a man of few words, and he used to speak in Hindi. So typically, while writing speeches, governors would tell me, this is the subject on which you give me a draft. And I will prepare a draft, I will give it to the governor, then he would discuss. And then what would happen is, then it would be finalized. When I wrote a speech for Governor Malhotra, R.N. Malhotra, he called me to Delhi to finalize the speech because he had gone to Washington. From there, he was coming back. So I went for the last round, I went to Delhi. So I sat with him and finished it. And then he was going to deliver the speech. So he came out of his room. He was a very stern man, very tough guy. He came out and I was standing there, so I thought he will pat me on the back and say, well done, because I had really put everything that I had at that time into that speech. It was one of the early speeches on globalization, by the way, before the globalization began in 1991 and 1992. So he came out, when he came close to me, he stopped for a moment and turned to me and said, "Theek hai." And then he left. I was so crestfallen. I said, with all the effort that I had done, I just get "Theek hai." This is very sad. So when I went to Mumbai, I went to Tarapur. He called me. He was waiting. He said, "How did it go? You were so excited. How did it go?" I said, "I think I let you down. I don't think he was too happy. He just said, "Theek hai." He stood up from his seat. He said, "Theek hai." Do you realize what a great compliment is that? I have been working with him for so long. He has never told me "Theek hai." That is the best compliment that he can pay. So, young man, you have done it. So what I'm trying to say is that the mentorship is very important. They gave you the opportunity and it's a kind of bet that they're taking on a person. And that does not happen randomly. Had he not seen the spark in me, he would not have chosen me to give that opportunity. So it goes both ways. You have to have, I'm addressing this to students, you have to have the spark. Your spark should be seen to entice the would-be mentors to come forward and say, look, here is a guy, here is a girl whom I can bet on and mentor. That happens so it is a two-way process, not a single one-way process. And it's not merely a luck. Although I have used that word many times, I believe that I'm a strong believer in luck, and harder I work, luckier I get. That is the motto that I have.
I know that you have written on your life, but I think what we need is a shadow written version of all that you have said today. I think it would be a thriller rather than a biography or an autobiography, given the clandestine economic reforms. Then the typical. I think you should pardon me for saying that this has just worked out like a plot of an English movie. Someone goes out there, has a normal job in a government department, then goes to all these different countries, meets dictators, 7 limousines coming out, no one knows which one the dictator's from, then goes on secondment to an international organization. Sir, I think they are going to base a James Bond character on this aspect. But that is not the end of it. It goes ahead and then that person leaves everything for a teaching job.
Exactly.
In an education department, then goes into policy and ends up as a legislator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the moral takeaway of that would be anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
You know, when I finished my, by the way, you know, after working with Dr. Manmohan Singh for so long, and after finishing my term with Planning Commission and the National Advisory Council, you know, with the change of government, everything changes. And chairman of National Advisory Council was Sonia Gandhi, and chairman of Planning Commission was Dr. Manmohan Singh, and I was working closely with them. And I was one of the few people working with both of them at the same time. That again was a very rare thing to have happened. Now, then we did not know what to do. I had a big discussion with my wife what to do next. She wanted to go to Mumbai because most of our relatives are in Mumbai. I wanted to go to Pune because I'm kind of attached to cultural diversity of Pune and the liveliness of Pune. So we had a big debate on where to go. Finally, the compromise was we will not go anywhere. We'll stay in Delhi for 1 year or 1.5 years. So I took up a job as a research professor in Council for Social Development. And while that was going on, like a ripe fruit, the member of parliament position came my way. How did it happen? All that we won't discuss, but I did not have to go to anybody. It just came to me on my lap. And then I became the member of parliament. As you may be aware, there are 12 people who are chosen from various wide spectrum of areas, and those who are normally not likely to be in the electoral process, but whose expertise could be useful for the country. They are the ones who are picked up by the government, and they are made the member of parliament. It's a very, very good scheme, but unfortunately, the way they have chosen people, Lata Mangeshkar was chosen, she went once in 6 years. Vijay, Sachin Tendulkar went 4 or 5 times in 6-year term. So, you know, it's a scheme that was not used properly in the sense that people were not really contributing. Even today, there are many MPs, nominated MPs, who don't show up at all. I changed the whole thing. I will just narrate one incident that will tell you about my 6 years in the Rajya Sabha. Derek O'Brien one day walked up to me. I was sitting in my place. He walked up to me. There was a smile on his face, but his words were telling a strange story. He said, "आप तो कलंक है, MPs के ऊपर कलंक है आप." So I said, क्यों भाई, क्या किया मैंने? Then he said, there are 3 things. One is that you come here every day. Second, you sit here whole day. And third, you also participate in the discussion. ये तो हद हो गई. You know, you have spoiled the image of all the nominated members. That was a very good spoiling that I did. And I'm very happy and proud of my contribution as a member of parliament, sitting there without attachment to any political party. The nominated MPs are given a choice to begin with. They can sit on the ruling party side or they can stay independent. Effectively, I was the only one who chose to be independent, and I exercised my independence as a member of parliament, and I'm very happy and proud about it.
Thank you, sir, for that. You know, just coming up to the last segment, policy, I think, has, you know, we've spoken about economics, we've spoken about legislation. The policy aspect is something that a lot of people in Mumbai and do not consider as an option for careers, you know, young, bright minds. I'm sorry to put it that way, but I've noticed it's a very Delhi thing, you know, because most of the policy research is based in Delhi. But I think when it comes to finance, we still have some organizations. I mean, we know that the chamber regularly sends representations to the government whenever some amendments are there, you know, when as stakeholders. So, you know, we take our pride on contributing towards that. But sir, going beyond just what we do, there are two aspects that I want to ask you on just before everything is, before we wind this up. Tell us about the committee that you're heading, how that is happening. Whatever you can divulge, of course, we would not this thing. And then we will just briefly touch on what it takes to be as prolific an author as you. I believe you're very close to the 50 book mark. I mean, that is, and doing all this. I mean,
That's the target.
that's around.
No, one thing that I must tell the young professionals, students and young professionals here, that whatever you do, it's very, very important to have social commitment. We often forget as we go up the ladder, we often forget how much we are taking from the society. You have to remember that you are a product of multiple things, and society has contributed in very big way to your success, and you must give it back. As far as I'm concerned, it was very important. Do you know that I have never ever worked in any place other than a public sector, excepting my job in Afghanistan? I was always in public sector. Why? Because when I finished my master's at that time, my brother, who was my homemade mentor, captain of our team, so to say, I wanted to do MBA at that time after BSc. And he said, no, don't do that. Do you want to? He asked me a question. Very, very important question, which he asked me at the right time. And that changed my life. He said, do you want to use your intelligence to multiply profits of one individual or one company, one family? Or you want to do something in your life which will change lives of millions of people, maybe in a small way? That is the difference between a career, upwardly mobile career professional, and a professional with a social conscience. So at that time, I took a decision that I'm going to work with public sector only. Although public sector does not pay. If I were in the private sector, people have said that I would have been chairman of a Fortune 500 company by now. But I didn't do that. I chose not to do that. I focused on this, and I've never had regrets. I went on doing that. So social commitment is very important in your career. Now, coming to the committees, I have been appointed recently on a very important committee. By the way, this is not the first committee I have chaired. This is my 35th committee, by the way, 35th committee. And this one really brings everything into what I have been looking for in my life. In the sense, influencing lives of very large number of people through policy making. This is a committee called Three Language Formula Committee. After the National Education Policy was announced in 2020, every state is implementing that, including Maharashtra. So Dr. Mashelkar committee was appointed to prepare a report about how to implement the national education policy in Maharashtra. So there is this language section where they made 3 language compulsory from first standard. Marathi as a mother tongue, English as a second language, and Hindi as a third language from first grade. And for those who are in other than Marathi medium, like Malayalam or Urdu, they would have 4 languages to learn from the day one, from the grade 1. Now that remained on paper. Nobody paid much attention to that. But when this government brought out a GR, government resolution, implementing that, then everybody was shaken up. And then there was a big agitation that started. The Thackeray brothers came out that you can't impose Marathi on, you can't impose Hindi on all of us. And from grade 1, that is just not on. So big agitation started, and there was a big morcha going to be there. So what the Chief Minister of Maharashtra did was to withdraw that GR for the time being, and then announced a committee under my chairmanship to decide the 3-language formula for Maharashtra. Now, just imagine, this is a policymaker's dream project. So I'm going to write a report. I'm currently working on that, and there's a team working with me. I'm writing a report that will influence the lives of literally crores of children in Maharashtra for next 20 years or 25 years. Now, that is a policymaker's dream. And the happiness that is there, is incomparable to anything that money can buy. That's what I'm trying to say. So that is the committee. That work has started, and in 3 months I'm supposed to give a report of that. So I have been on the committees, various committees, and this part is really is kind of coming to fruition of all that you have done in your life is finally coming into focus in terms of sharp policymaking outcomes. And that is what I'm doing right now, and makes me feel very happy.
Dr. Jadhav, sir, you have, managed to speak about your life experience till now, about the front row seats you had to see our country change, to see the continuous evolution of the country, the education system, and then what you're doing today, seems to be a accumulation of everything that has happened over your life. How they say, the how it chases destiny, because this has education, this has policy, this has everything. And the emphasis that you have laid on social change and how young people, young professionals, brilliant minds need to contribute, give back, to the society, look at the bigger picture. I think that is extremely inspirational, and I'm sure everyone who hears this will agree to it. The front row seats that you had, thank you so much for giving us a glimpse, a flash of what you must have seen over the last 35, 40 years, maybe even more. How the entire evolution has happened. And
Aditya,
yes,
before we close, I must speak for 2 minutes on something which we did not cover adequately.
sure.
Throughout this journey, I've been writing books. And you mentioned that I'm nearing 50th book. So right now I have finished 47, and 45, 44 are actually published, 3 are in the process, and at least 4 more will follow. So that is the mission. But I want to tell you, consistent with the objective of this particular forum and this particular webinar, Learning Today, Leading Tomorrow, I want to tell you that I wrote a book, one of my earliest books. In 1993, I wrote a book called Amcha Baap and Ami, that is Our Father and Us. It is a family biography that I wrote. That was when I was 40 years old. That book has become the first international bestseller coming from Marathi. It has broken all the records in the history of Marathi language. Marathi, it has 201st edition has been recently released. It has gone into 14 languages, Indian as well as foreign languages. Again, this is unprecedented, and it is nearing 1 million mark now. 8 lakh copies have been sold. More important than this kind of success is the message of that book. That book has inspired, I'm very happy and proud to tell you, that book has inspired 3 generations of leaders. And 4th generation is being inspired right now. Just few months back, I got videos from 2 kinds of videos I have got, letters or videos, mails or videos. One video is from tribal areas in Maharashtra where school-going Adivasi girls are holding copies of Amcha Baap and Ami, my book, in their hand, and they are telling that they want to become like Narendra Jadhav when they grow up. That is one. The second one is that my book in Korea is a super duper bestseller. It has sold more copies than in Marathi in Korea. And there also it is the prescribed in the school curricula. They have brought out an edition for younger generation, 12 to 18. And it is there in their curricula. And the teachers in Korea, they write mails to me giving the comments and questions from the students, received from students for me to answer in English. Now, this is amazing, and the kind of happiness that gives me, it is indescribable. And this has happened while I was occupying all these important positions throughout. I never stopped writing, excepting the 3-year period when I was Vice Chancellor of Pune University. That time I could not write because it was a 24-hour job. Other than that, I was writing. And the teacher in me, this is a reflection. Everything that I have done is a reflection of teacher in me. Whenever I want to communicate, whenever I want to tell something to people, I write. And that has worked very beautifully, and it has been received very well. So that gives me a great satisfaction. Thank you for the extra time that you have allowed.
No, sir, not extra time. The question on the book was there. I just didn't have the courage to remind you. That was already asked. That was the 2 questions in one. But clearly seeing you speak today shows how fulfilling everything was, the whole journey. And the journey will, of course, continue. And we hope that you will continue to inspire us, inspire young professional students as they will come. With that, I will hand it.
Aditya, you have to come to my house in future. You are forgetting the big role that my wife has played in this journey of mine. She is sitting just right now. She is sitting next to me here.
Then she has to be.
And if you don't ask any question about her, and if I don't give her credit for great contribution that she has done in this journey, you will be penalized when you come to our house. You are not
very clearly, sir. Today also, I know that she has answered questions when you faltered for a second. I know she's been standing behind you like a rock even at this moment. But introducing her to all of us is not my place, sir. You can
okay, all right. I'll just
please share.
Please move the camera, please.
Please.
Hi.
And how are you? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hearing you after so long.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
अर्धांगिनी खऱ्या अर्थाने म्हणता येतं.
Hope to see you soon.
Okay, all right.
With that, I will now hand you over for the vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you very much for this very pleasant exchange of experiences, and I thank the forum for having given me this opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, over to you, Namrata.
Thank you, Aditya. You've done a great job of bringing out the essence of these, I think, about 7 decades of experience that Dr. Jadhav carries with him. And Dr. Jadhav, thank you very much. I am glad I was here today listening to you. While this, of course, with your consent, will go on our YouTube channel, but I'm glad I was here today listening to you firsthand and getting a minor glimpse of all the experiences that you've gone through. It is really inspiring to listen to you, the journey where you talk not just of the opportunities you got, where you are talking of luck, but how you grabbed those opportunities, how you made the most of those opportunities. And I think it is more than a coincidence that we're talking so much about teachers, mentors, gurus today, when it just yesterday was Teachers' Day.
Right.
And the importance of that one figure or those figures in our lives cannot be understated. And your talk today has re-emphasized that for us. I think that includes, while you just at the end mentioned your wife, I think somewhere that includes your wife also in your case. Because without her support also, that journey that you've gone through was probably would not have been the same.
There is no way I would have achieved so much without a very strong support all the time.
True, true. Thank you so much, sir, for this entirely inspiring talk. And I do thank the Chamber of Tax Consultants, the office bearers, the president and vice president who are here with us today, and of course the support that we've got from the Chamber's office, despite today being a official holiday actually. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All the best.